high of 87, then tonight clear with a low of 69. Liberal comedy icon Kathy Griffin brings her My Life on the PTSD List tour to the Pantages Theater in Minneapolis on October 11th. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com or listen to the Matt McNeil Show this week for your chance to win.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. In the evenings, WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, and at 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle. It's the Matt McNeil Show for your Monday. Good to have you with us today. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. A lot to get to. No guests, but I got tons to talk about. Patrick is here producing for us. Hello, Patrick. How are we today?
Doing well. I had a really busy weekend. I had hockey up in the northern Twin Cities suburbs on Friday, and yesterday I had a soccer game south of the Twin Cities on Saturday. So it was a lot of running around this weekend.
Now, you are not playing in these games.
No, I am broadcasting them.
Broadcasting. He's multi-talented sports. And by the way, just for all the folks in Chicago and folks in Seattle, yeah, we play hockey all year round here. It's one of the reasons when I had kids, I was like, please do not let my kid like hockey. Please do not like my kid liking hockey. You have got to pay for ice time the year round. If you want to play hockey, you got to playing it year round. You got to pay for ice time. It is so god awful expensive. Oh, so I was grateful. Baseball was pretty pricey, but I'm glad they played baseball and soccer. Soccer was a dream. Soccer was a dream. Oh my goodness. Hockey. Okay, so I want to just one little public service announcement I want to put out here before I get into, obviously, we'll talk about the assassination attempt. But it happened today. I wasn't planning on talking about this today, and then I just said, you know what? I think I want to. I have been an advocate to watch out for motorcycle riders. I have had too many friends who have been hurt by vehicles, people on motorcycles who've been hurt by vehicles, sideswiped and hurt. And as a matter of fact, I have a wife of a friend right now who is going through a very tough situation that is very heartbreaking about what happened there, where someone wasn't paying attention and they hit a motorcycle rider. And I mean, Steve Conrad, I used to work with Steve Conrad. He was the program director at a past radio station when I worked there. He got into a car accident and forever changed his life. You got to watch out for motorcycle riders. They're out there. You've got to be careful of them. So I am coming back from the Y this morning. I was running today. I come back from the Y. I'm coming up, and just for the folks, I understand these roads won't mean anything to you, but just to give a context here, I was on 394. I'm heading down, go to 169 South in Minneapolis, just on the west side. And I come up the ramp, and there's a semi truck there, and I kind of get in front of it. And then in front of the semi truck was a motorcycle. All right, fine. Plenty of space for me to get between the two of them. No problem. I'm kind of a nerdy driver. I'm kind of a nerdy driver. Realize there's no one in the left lane. So I get in the left lane and I skedaddle down the road. About a mile later, the motorcycle rider I can see is coming up really fast on my backside and zips between me and a mobility bus in a fairly small a place, zips in between them, and a very dangerous thing to do. And once again, I believe you should be careful with motorcycle riders. You know, I can say that all day long. Some clown car like this basically starts zipping between cars, and it doesn't matter how much I say it. All you're doing is making a lot of people mad. Fine. He wanted to get in front of me. He's willing to risk his life for a few extra feet on the highway. Idiot. Fine. Whatever. He gets in front of me. And, I back up, because, a motorcycle is not a car. You got to give it space. You got to give it room. So I back up, and I'm not really bothering him. I'm not anywhere really close to him. But I was kind of stunned that this guy would, that's a pretty dangerous move at, 65 miles an hour. So I getting ready to go off the exit by my house. And I get over in the lane, and the guy specifically comes over and gets in front of me in my lane, okay, and starts slowing down as I'm on the exit ramp. And I don't quite know. Once again, I'm positive I had enough space between the guy. I didn't crowd him. I didn't cut anyone off. I didn't do anything like that. I gave him plenty of room. I don't know what this guy was up to, but because I follow at a safe distance, I had no problem. He kind of started hitting his brakes and trying to get me to stop, but I had enough room where I didn't have a problem. Finally, I took the exit ramp because I'm going to my house, and the guy takes it too, and he's in front of me. He takes a left turn, I take a right turn. He takes a left turn, and he kind of screams off. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what your problem is. I mean, clearly this is one of those people, and we see these people every day. People whose lives are going so badly, whether it's that day or overall, and they are desperate for some sort of daily win. And so they dangerously get into aggressive driving to try to find some victory within their sad, sad lives. That's going to be what I'm going to guess here. But I want to just say, I can sit here on this radio station and say as much as I can, watch out for motorcycle riders. Doesn't matter, because unless you gotta clean that stuff up, because all it does is it scares people, it causes accidents, it makes people angry. And no matter how much people who are advocates or don't want to see motorcycle riders get hurt will advocate to be careful, it doesn't matter when you have basically people out there who are pushing the boundaries to basically, I don't know, because I'm a loser and I need a victory. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is, dude, you're lucky that, first of all, I don't have any patience for you. I think you're a sad, sad individual. Good luck with all that. But the reality is you're also lucky that I'm a pretty nerdy, safe driver, because if you tried some of that stuff with someone who wasn't paying attention, you're the one on a freaking bike, dude. You're the one that's going to get launched into next week. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't want to see you get injured. I had a drunk driver hit me. I know what it's like. I don't want you sitting there feeling smug to yourself because you end up getting 16 pins put in a bone and you can maybe be able to walk again in 3 years. Dude, you don't want that. I don't want that. Be careful. I'll advocate what I said at the beginning. Watch out for motorcycle riders. They're still out there. Be careful, please. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. So let's start with the assassination attempt today. And I want to first start off talking about how the story really changed really quickly. Now, what I'm going to guess happened. Well, okay, let me start with this though. Let me actually back up for a second. Let me start off with two things here that I want to clear up because of this. I do believe this was an assassination attempt. No. Democrats pushing the idea is like so convenient when he's having a bad week, all of a sudden this emergency happens. Stop. No. I think there's a very understandable explanation about what this guy's bizarre motivations were. I'll get to that in a second. But no, this was an assassination attempt. And I also want to make sure I address the people who are out there insinuating that because he wasn't shot at, that no bullets left the gun of the attempted assassin, that somehow it wasn't really an assassination attempt. No, it was an assassination attempt. One of the things I find to be bizarre is it does not seem like this guy had a lot of advanced planning. So did he find out that Trump was out there, or did he just happen to be there when Trump was on the course? And I don't know. Going to the original story and how it initially came out, the initial story was of man opens fire on Trump at golf course. Trump matrixes around the bullets and survives. Now, that wasn't even close to being correct. I don't know why that narrative was being pushed out there initially. Okay, I'm embellishing a little bit with the matrixing thing, but Trump wasn't, well, first of all, then the story changed. Then the story did change to there was a shootout between law enforcement, the FBI, and an attempted assassin there. Then we finally find out the actual story, which once again is still an assassination attempt and horrible and wrong. We should condemn it. That the guy had stuck a barrel of the gun through the fence and someone noticed the barrel. And before this guy got a shot off, they opened fire on him, justifiably. And he fled the scene and was soon apprehended. He clearly had worse ulterior motives planned there. I really, that's pretty clear. A 58-year-old man was suspected of attempting to assassinate former President Trump, was charged with 2 gun counts in his initial appearance in federal court on Monday in Florida. Ryan Routh had an extensive criminal history before the Sunday incident at Trump's West Palm Beach Golf Club, which the FBI is investigating as an attempted assassination of the former president. The Secret Service agent spotted a rifle barrel sticking out of the fence ahead of where Trump was playing golf. Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw said Sunday the agent immediately engaged with the person who then fled. So once again, he didn't shoot any bullets, but he obviously was there in a threatening manner. Secret Service personnel opened fire on the gunman located near the property line. Rafael Barros, a special agent in charge of the Secret Service Miami field office, said during the briefing. Routh was taken into custody on the highway about 45 miles north of Trump International after a witness provided a picture of his license plate and vehicle to law enforcement. Routh, who multiple reports said formerly lived in Greensboro, North Carolina, but at some point relocated to Hawaii, was charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon in possession of a firearm with a obliterated serial number. He appeared before magistrate. Oh, by the way, they'll find out where that gun came from. He appeared before magistrate Judge Ryan McCabe. Officials said he could face up to 15 years in prison if convicted on the first charge and possibly 5 years convicted on the second. The Associated Press reporting that during the hearing, he was working and bringing in around $3,000 a month, but had no savings. Authorities found an AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks, and a GoPro, which he said he was going to use to take pictures in bushes where Routh was discovered. Bradshaw said that during this Sunday briefing. Let's talk a little bit about who this guy is. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll have to do that after the break. But so they got the guy, good police work, captured him. Trump was on the golf course, but he wasn't really in any danger per se, unless he would have been able to get around to a hole closer to him, which then, yeah, it would have been a problem. This was an assassination attempt. I mean, a heads up, smart play by law enforcement on the scene. Everyone, nice job, capture the guy. And of course, he's white because they captured him alive. And yeah, that's just the reality of our world. But they did stop this. We'll take a break, come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
At Better Futures Minnesota, we support Minnesota's environment by working towards zero waste and the transformation of the lives of men in our workforce development model. Better Futures Minnesota engages men with histories of incarceration and homelessness. Our approach reaffirms each man's dignity, instilling self-discipline and behaviors that empower them to achieve self-sufficiency and a better future. We set hard-to-employ men on a pathway to independence through employment in our reuse retail warehouse and work crews specializing in building deconstruction, property maintenance, appliance recycling, and janitorial services. We strive to create a sustainable future where social equity, economic opportunity, and environmental justice intersect. By addressing these interconnected challenges, Better Futures Minnesota works towards building resilient, healthy communities for all Minnesotans. We believe that true sustainability can only be achieved when all members of our community can thrive. Join us in making a difference. Visit us at betterfuturesminnesota.com and donate today.
Hi, I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
Your hosts for Searching for Service. Tune into Rotary's influential show and podcast. sharing touching stories of service locally and abroad.
We bring you weekly guests that connect, inform, and inspire our listeners on all things service.
We highlight diverse service opportunities that appeal to both Rotarians and people driven to serve in their communities.
Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. or anytime via podcast. It's time
To stop searching
And start serving.
Step into a world of financial empowerment with the Do Different Better show. I'll be your host, Elaine Rasmussen. Join me Sundays at noon on AM 950 as we do a deep dive into wealth education with topics like investing, real estate, and entrepreneurship. No nonsense, tell it like it is, keeping it 100 for everyday people like you. Tune in to get practical insights to rewrite your financial future. So each Sunday at noon, let's do different better. You can hear Do Different Better anytime on your favorite app. Learn more about me at socialimpactnow.com.
Get ready for the music event of the summer. Powderhorn Porch Fest returns Saturday, September 21st from 4 to 10 p.m. for another legendary evening of 13 epic performances across 3 community-decorated porch stages featuring genres from hip-hop, R&B, surf punk, Latin folk, and more. Powderhorn Porch Fest spans 2 blocks on 17th Avenue South between 32nd and 34th Streets. This year's headliner is Tufa One, a Dakota Boricua singer-songwriter, hip-hop artist, and community activist making waves across the nation. KRSM will be spinning beats with the diverse sounds of the South Side all night long. Treat yourself to over a dozen of Minneapolis' favorite food trucks, then grab a cold drink from the Reverie Cafe and Bar Beer Garden. The festival is family-friendly by day with activities for kids and an unforgettable celebration for the adults after dark. Best of all, Powderhorn Porch Fest is free to attend, with proceeds supporting the community programs of the Powderhorn Park Neighborhood Association. Don't miss out on this one-of-a-kind music and community celebration. Powderhorn Porch Fest is Saturday, September 21st from 4 to 10 p.m. More details at ppna.org/porchfest.
It's the Matt McNeil Show. A little bit more information about Ryan Routh, because this background leads to a lot of questions. The suspected gunman in the apparent assassination attempt on Trump at his Florida Golf Club on Sunday has been identified as Ryan Routh. Routh was charged Monday with possession of firearm, convicted felon in possession of firearm with an obliterated serial number. Prosecutors allege the complaint that Routh remained in the vicinity of the area along the tree line near Trump's West Palm Beach club for almost 12 hours. The serial number on the firearm was obliterated and unable to read with the naked eye. Routh's criminal history includes a 2002 charge of possessing a weapon of mass destruction, which is a fully automatic machine gun. According to Wired, which interviewed the charging officer in the North Carolina case on Sunday, NBC uncovered over 100 criminal counts have been filed against Routh in North Carolina, mostly in Guilford County, though it noted the outcome of each of those cases was not clear. The New York Times described Routh in the article as a former construction worker from Greensboro, though the New York Times notes he was most recently based in Hawaii. Both Semaphore and the Times reported interviewing Routh last year about his efforts to help Ukraine and offer his help as a volunteer soldier. In 2022 interview with Newsweek in Romania, Routh described the war in Ukraine as definitely black and white, good versus evil. Orrin Routh, the suspect's son, characterized his father as loving and caring and an honest working man. I don't know what's happened in Florida. I hope things have just been blown out of proportion. Dude, he's got 100 charges against him. I mean, come on. The former Greensboro, North Carolina neighbor told TV station Routh was unusual, but he would never have guessed he would have attempted to shoot the former president. She wasn't, however, surprised to hear guns were involved, saying he had lots of guns and stuff over there. A lot of people were afraid of him back in the day. Okay. Before Twitter has suspended his account, Routh posted online statements that indicated he was a Trump supporter in 2016. However, he turned against the former president in 2022. He later expressed support for a ticket involving former Republican presidential candidates Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley. Records all indicate, and I'm going to guess that was this year because Vivek Ramaswamy was this year. I don't believe he wasn't running in 2020, I believe. I don't believe so. So that must be this year he was talking about supporting a Republican ticket. Records indicate Routh voted in the North Carolina Democratic primary, though, in March. He also made more than a dozen small donations during 2019 through Act Blue. And several posts on Twitter in 2020, he told the New York Times reported Routh expressed his support for Representative Tulsi Gabbard, which doesn't exactly scream Democrat at this point. In a book that appears to have been self-published in Amazon in 2023, titled Ukraine's Unwinnable War. He describes Trump as a fool and a buffoon and criticizes the former president for leaving the Iran nuclear deal. How did he get his gun? Well, and that still has come to light. It's funny because there's a lot of people when you talk about that. Well, first of all, how does a guy like this get a freaking gun? How does a guy like this get a gun? This guy should not have had a gun. Period. End of story. End of discussion. Period. He should not have had a gun. But the reality is I'm going to guess one of two ways. One, he walked into a gun retailer and bought it right off the counter. Probably. That's how crazy this freaking world is right now. I mean, one of the things that's not mentioned in this Axios story that was mentioned in another story, he had in 2022, he had a 3.5 hour long standoff with North Carolina police. In 2022, how do you have a 3.5 hour long standoff and then basically are able to get a gun? So he walked into a gun store and they just gave it to him because that's just the way this world works nowadays. Or he more than likely bought it from some guy, more than likely from rural America, where people don't really pay attention to guys walking into a gun store and buying 14 guns, and was sold to him out of the back of that guy's car. That's how most of the guns get on the streets nowadays. They're either just bought from a store and no one bats an eye, or the reality is there's a lot of people in rural America who buy tons of guns and bring them into the inner cities and sell them on the streets. One of the two. It's almost, this idea of he probably broke into a train convoy on the rail tracks and stole a gun. No. Obviously, and once again, I want to reiterate something about this, which has to be said, which is, this is wrong. For God's sakes, this is wrong. We cannot have a functioning society there. I will say that there is a pretty interesting, valid point to be made that if you're just going to sit back and allow school shootings to happen, well, then you can't be surprised when political assassination attempts start happening on such a regular basis. We have a crazed gun culture in this country that needs to be addressed. And yeah, I mean, it's horrible and it's wrong. And this case seems like this guy, when you look at who he is, I mean, a lot of people, especially a lot of people on the right, want to immediately scream, he's a far-right Harris supporter. Well, if he was supporting Vivek Ramaswamy, that was this year. And he says he voted for Trump. And then, McKinley, I think, was McKinley taken out by anarchists. Anarchists wanted it. There was a specific issue. They wanted just to create anarchy. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed by a racist. It was racism. This guy seems to be a single motivated issue is Ukraine. And he's upset with Donald Trump about Ukraine. That's going to be what my guess is going to be. And he decided to try to take things into his own hands. The thing which prevented this from becoming a much bigger tragedy is this clearly was not somebody functioning well. And if anything, if you read through his bio, his background, clearly this guy is mentally compromised. Clearly this guy has got a lot of problems. And it's at what point anyone thinks giving this guy a gun was ever going to lead to a good thing, I don't know. They'll find out where that gun came from, I guarantee you. And hopefully we'll get some answer to how that gun got into his hands. But this is a guy that clearly should not have one. But his motivations aren't so much political, it's just the Ukraine issue. And which is interesting because one of the things that has been bizarre to watch is this insane whiplash change of tone of Republicans who, up until this happened, were talking about everybody needs to go out there and go go get those people in the Haitians in Ohio, and they're eating pets. You got to stop that. Look at them. Someone's got to stop them. Won't somebody stop them? This is happening when it's not happening. And then turning around is like, we need civility in this country. Really? You're saying? You don't say. I mean, it's the guy speeding all over the place, driving at 100 miles an hour, looking and having the audacity to talk about, hey, everyone else is speeding. You need to slow down. Really? You lose a little bit on your message. We'll come back with more. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
What are you doing now? You look like you're stuck. Hey, it's Tom. Harness the power of the sun and slash your energy bills with Solar Plus energy storage from All Energy Solar. By storing and using your own energy, you can reduce your energy bills beyond what a home solar system alone can do. Solar with battery backup from All Energy Solar can optimize your energy use and potentially eliminate your energy bill. Millions of dollars in new battery storage incentives are up for grabs for XL and non-XL customers. But don't wait. These funds are limited and awarded on a first-come, first-served basis. Then save even more with the 30% federal solar tax rebate and other local incentives from Minneapolis, Edina, St. Louis Park, and other communities. If the incentive process seems overwhelming, don't worry. The experts at All Energy Solar will guide you through the entire application process to maximize your savings. So start storing your own energy and cut out the utility company with Solar Plus batteries from All Energy Solar. Get a free quote at allenergysolar.com.
Come on, you know it's true. Work is almost bearable when the Stephanie Miller Show is on. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Minnesota Recovery Connection is inviting everyone to join their annual Walk for Recovery on Saturday, September 21st from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Minnesota State Capitol grounds. Minnesota Recovery Connection's Walk for Recovery, presented by New Way Alliance, will be bigger and better than ever in 2024. Join us for Minnesota's premier all-recovery event, a day for everyone and anyone to celebrate recovery and break the stigma associated with substance use disorder. Sign up today. There is no registration fee. You can also take the opportunity to invest in recovery and donate to the walk. Your financial support helps Minnesota Recovery Connection strengthen the recovery community through peer-to-peer support, public education, and advocacy. Most importantly, though, please join Minnesota Recovery Connection and the recovery community at the walk and put a face on recovery. Bring your friends and family to the Minnesota State Capitol grounds on Saturday, September 21st to celebrate recovery. For more information and to register, please visit minnesotarecovery.org/walk. That's minnesotarecovery.org/walk.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
I'm the host of Exploring Sovereignty with Elizabeth. In this radio show and podcast, we have conversations with heart-centered thought leaders to explore their pathway to becoming free, and we will shine a light on what has been hidden, often in plain sight, what they pay attention to, and how it has transformed them and others into a higher level thinking and feeling state during this time of great change. Explore being consciously aware, authentically free, and courageously sovereign with us. Sundays at 11 a.m. on AM 950, and check out our early release episodes that drop Thursdays on your favorite podcast apps.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Today, sunshine with a high of 87, then tonight, clear with a low of 69. For more than 40 years, the Great Wall Restaurant has been serving up Szechuan and Mandarin favorites. The Great Wall is located just north of 50th in France on the Minneapolis-Edina city line. Check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Here on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle, and on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Monday. So once again, let's go through this. Sounds like a mentally unstable man with a history of violence somehow was able to get a gun, hang around on the outside of Trump's golf course in Florida, and placed the gun muzzle through the fence, through the bushes, to which a law enforcement official paying attention to some things noticed was, okay, that's, obviously a bad thing. And, confronted, shots fired by law enforcement, the man fled, captured 45 miles away. He sure seems to be, once again, as much as we try to, attach a political narrative to this guy, he seems to be someone who has supported both sides, including, it sounds like this year, was supporting Vivek Ramaswamy, but it was also at a Democratic, convention earlier this year. So I don't know if this is necessary politics. This does definitely seem to be, since he seems to have some delusions about Ukraine. And hey, I support Ukraine 100%. But this guy seemed to be living some sort of kind of weird, bizarre fantasy through this. He seems to be a mentally compromised man who became a zealot for a cause and was looking to make a name for himself. There. I would say this, once again, it's how does a guy like this get a gun? Well, let's go back to 2017, shall we? President Trump quietly signed a bill into law on Tuesday, rolling back an Obama-era regulation that made it harder for people with mental illness to purchase a gun. The rule, which was finalized in December, added people receiving Social Security checks for mental illnesses and people deemed unfit to handle their own financial affairs on the National Background Check Database. The original rule was hotly contested by gun rights advocates who said it infringed on American Second Amendment rights for mentally compromised people to load them, arm themselves like a third world country. Gun control advocates, however, praised the rule for curbing the availability of firearms to those who may not use them in the right intentions. Both the House and Senate, back when it was under control of Republicans, passed the bill, Resolution 40. Funny, none of them bragged about it when Trump signed it. As a matter of fact, when Trump signed the bill into law without a photo op or fanfare, the president welcomed cameras into the Oval Office Tuesday for the signing of other executive orders and bills. News the president had signed the bill was tucked at the bottom of a White House email alerting press to other legislation signed by the president. The NRA applauded Trump's action. Chris Cox, the NRA ILA executive director at that point, said in the move marks a new era for law-abiding gun owners who now have a president who respects and supports the arms by giving mentally compromised people weapons. You wonder how this guy got a weapon? Well, if you make it easy for people who are mentally compromised to get them, they're going to get them. Don't act like you're this is how dare he? No, you guys paved the road for something like this to happen, for goodness sakes. As a matter of fact, if I can just say, the Democrats are the ones that are trying to get the guns which are being shot at Donald Trump off the freaking streets. The Republicans are the ones saying, how can we give people who are comatose 16 of them? You guys are crazy with the guns, man. These guns do not do anyone any good. Republican, Democrat, they kill indiscriminately. You need to regulate them more than saying, you pinky swore that even though you're mentally compromised, you wouldn't try to go do something like this. You guys got to stop it. And as a matter of fact, if I can bring up a quick little side note to this, and this is courtesy of the fine folks over at Minnesota Reformer. In the wake of the horrific event of the mass shooting, this is the one in Georgia, we hear gun enthusiasts argue that mental health problems are the primary drivers of American gun violence rather than the guns themselves. Researchers recently decided to test this proposition empirically by comparing gun deaths in America with those in other countries with similar rates of mental illness. They found that gun deaths in the United States are a whopping 20 times higher than those in comparable counties. It's not the mental health issue. It's, hey, mental health compromised people, here are a bunch of guns. While the country's struggles with mental health are very real, it's the easy access to guns that's driving so much of the death and devastation in America they've simply learned to live with. I'll talk more about that coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour. But yeah, this isn't rocket science. This isn't rocket science. This is, you have mentally compromised people who should not have guns, and they're able to get guns. And sometimes it's like the shooting in Georgia where dad gives them the gun, even though he's been told, your kid probably shouldn't have a gun. Here it is, someone who's got a laundry list of previous problems and clearly seems to be mentally disconnected, but probably partially in part due to the undoing of gun laws that were supposed to stop mental health, mentally compromised individuals from getting guns. They do it. And by the way, I want to make sure we understand one last thing about the jackasses at the NRA. The reason they want mentally compromised people to get guns is because they want more shootings, because more shootings with no attempt to try to stop them leads people to have to try to buy more guns to try to keep themselves safe. So they want more gun slaughters in this country because it spurs gun sales. Ta-da! The NRA sucks. The more you know. Rainbow emoji. So this happens. Now, there, once again, some people have said this didn't really happen. This was a conspiracy. Trump's had a horrible week. The debate went bad for him. Taylor Swift endorsing didn't help him. The Laura Loomer case, and then the insanity of the Haitians eating dogs and cats in Ohio, which is now becoming incredibly beaten down. They desperately want that story to be real. And the news media is finally doing their job and saying, you guys are inciting violence yourselves by continuing this, which I'll get to that here in a little bit as well. So it's not a surprise. Once again, I don't think that this is any kind of, this was a legit, in regards to, was there an attempted assassination? This indeed did happen. That is indeed what did happen. This was an attempted assassination. Republicans, desperate to get the other news off the table, quickly ran out there and quickly, of course, this is Kamala Harris. No, it's not. No, it's not. But the narrative that is they're putting out there is that any criticism of Trump is what's leading to this. You criticize Donald Trump. You heard him talking about how much he loves Project 2025. And when you called him out on that, you're the person responsible for the assassination attempt. So you can't criticize him at all. We can criticize Kamala Harris all day long. But if you it's all on you. Now, I want to point out, there is the Armageddon factor, which I have talked about in regards to other issues. The movie Armageddon, the Bruce Willis character has a little soliloquy at the beginning of the film where he talks about how it's unfair that he's a hole digger. He digs holes in the ground, and people don't respect him. And I just want some respect. I've been doing this for a long time. I just want some respect. And then he spends the entire rest of the film bad-mouthing everyone else's job. Seriously. Just, ugh. It is a master's class in hypocrisy. And it's pre-MAGA, that's for sure. Well, Trump and others, including Elon Musk, have basically done the same thing. How dare you try to criticize Donald Trump? You're personally responsible. By the way, wink, wink. And yeah, this is getting ugly and fast. Former President Trump on Monday accused Vice President Kamala Harris of putting his life in danger by using inflammatory rhetoric and then proceeding to use inflammatory rhetoric as his own by labeling her, quote, the enemy from within. Man, you've been watching some of those 1939 German films, haven't you there, Donnie T? In an interview with Fox News, the former president claimed that Harris and Democrats' attacks on him were causing me to be shot at, before then declaring Democrats are people that want to destroy our country. So once again, you can't criticize me because that's leading to assassination attempts, but he is doing everything in his power to beg one of his followers to start shooting at Kamala Harris and the Democrats. It's called the enemy from within, the former president declared. They are the real threat. In reality, there's no evidence that either of the men accused of trying to assassinate Trump had been influenced by Harris's criticisms. As a matter of fact, once again, the first kid was a Republican kid who just was obsessed with trying to make a name for himself by assassinating somebody, and it just so happened he was willing to probably try to do it against Biden, but it happened that Trump was the first one that came close by, and that's why he had tried to kill Donald Trump. The second guy, once again, seems like a mentally compromised individual who was obsessed about Ukraine. So, no, Kamala Harris didn't have anything to do with this, but it has not stopped Republican after Republican going out there and Trump doing this, where he's basically saying, why are you shooting at me? They're the real threat. The Ryan Roth was arrested for alleged attempt on Sunday, voted for Trump in 2016, and this year was supportive of Republican candidates Vivek Ramaswamy. That's this year. Trump rally shooting Thomas Crooks, meanwhile, was a registered Republican. He didn't leave much of a digital footprint, but he seemed to be a guy that was trying to kill somebody to make a name for himself. Many political observers slammed Trump for denouncing heated rhetoric while at the same time calling his political opponents the enemy from within. Yes, the classic de-escalation technique of calling your opponents the enemy from within, said National Security Attorney Bradley Moss. As arsonists can't keep blaming others for getting singed, said Nick Field. So many people weighed in on this. Elon Musk basically called for the assassination of Kamala Harris. At least that's how I interpret it, because he decided to make a joke. What he says is a joke online. Elon Musk drew fierce backlash from Twitter platform when it was slammed for an appalling and indefensible response to an apparent second attempt on the life of Donald Trump. Per the FBI, Trump was subject of an attempted assassination. The billionaire who has this is what he said. He has 197 million followers. Musk posted, and no one is even trying to assassinate Biden, Kamala. He added a face thinking emoji. Really? You that sure sounds like you're encouraging someone to try it. The criticism came fast by Musk, who has endorsed Trump, was accusing stoking division and inflaming tensions. He later deleted the post. He explained, well, one lesson I've learned is just because I say something into a group and they laugh doesn't mean it's going to be all that hilarious if I post it on X. Okay, stop, lurch. Okay. You're hanging out with people that when you said, quote, and no one's even trying to assassinate Biden or Kamala, your group of friends go, ha, 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 ha. Really? Because that sounds horrible. That sounds really, really horrible. You are a horrible human. Elon Musk is a horrible human being. And by the way, he's got government contracts. They probably should be up for consideration because he seems to be calling for the execution or at least an assassination attempt on Harris and Biden. And Johnny Jokester there can try to play it off as something else, but it's not. So let's make sure we understand in the wake of this second assassination attempt that you can have someone who clearly seems to have been motivated by whether it's deranged celebrity or a single issue that has taken a mentally compromised individual and put them over the edge. And no matter what, the Republicans are going to accuse that of being a Democrat. But you could have somebody in a MAGA hat who's been a longtime MAGA supporter screaming, I love Trump, screaming, I was told by Trump to go and do something about her, so I did. And if they got caught trying to commit an assassination of Kamala Harris, the first words out of the Republicans' mouth is, I don't see why you're trying to connect this guy to us. I mean, there's nothing there. Yeah. We'll take a break, come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Crooner's Supper Club invites you to enjoy drinks, a delicious dinner, and live music from both big-name local and national artists in a wide array of styles. Before or after your show, check out the new Maggie's Lounge, a perfect spot to visit with friends. It's open Wednesdays through Sundays beginning at 4:30 with cocktails and light fare. And you don't need a ticket to enjoy the great atmosphere of Maggie's. Crooner's Supper Club off Moore Lake and Highway 65. A little piece of old school nightlife in the 21st century.
Fall means back to school, and hands down the best vehicle for the family is the Toyota Sienna from Rudy Luther Toyota. It hauls everything in comfort. Lots of kids? Check. Mountains of sports gear? Check. A band's worth of musical instruments? Check. Multiple science projects and schoolwork? Check. And the Sienna Hybrid gets you fantastic mileage, and it's the safest vehicle I've ever driven, something I will brag about for the rest of my life. The Toyota Sienna is the perfect Minnesota family vehicle. Test drive one today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
Hi, this is Ken Hageland, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, inviting you to listen to our live call-in talk show airing every Saturday from noon to 1, where we talk about your health and your life and provide insights you need to know to live and age well. Each week, we talk with guests who provide answers to important questions regarding healthcare, elder care, end-of-life care, and self-care for caregivers, and help you and your loved ones plan for the future and enjoy your highest quality of life today. Please join us every Saturday from noon to 1 on AM 950 for Living Healthy and Aging Well.
This is Andy Addo, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we get to know LaTanya Noble, the Executive Director of Minnesota People of Color Pride. We'll learn about the history of POC Pride and hear about some of their upcoming events and all the other great work that they're doing. That's this Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
Let's have some fun, this beat is sick. I wanna take a ride on your disco stick. Let's have some fun, this beat is sick. I wanna take a ride on your disco stick.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Like I said, let's touch on the story that every Republican tried to pivot away from immediately with it because it's falling apart on them. All right, so this whole thing with Springfield, Ohio, where Haitians are supposedly eating pets. It's not true. It is made up. It is old school bigotry talk. This is exactly what evil despots have always done to basically encourage that the villains they don't like, they'll add a subhuman characteristic to those humans to attack them with and try to get other people to attack them too. This is not the first time we've seen this. Oh dear Lord, no. This has been a tried and true method of despots and dictators to basically vilify individuals, an ethnic group, a religious group throughout history. It absolutely has been. Trump is getting his caboose handed to him at the debate, has nowhere to go, and all of a sudden, as I've talked about, he floats the whole thing about the pets being eaten, which and like what you get is you get a look into his campaign, because this is the kind of stuff that's being floated around in his campaign that they don't want to let get out. But this is clearly just everyday talk there. And so that's why he, in a desperate need to try to change the subject, brought up this whole thing, this lie about the Haitians in Ohio. And since then, it has been, I mean, J.D. Vance spent last week insisting it's true, it's true, it's true. And if you watch Dana Bash take him to task, his argument is, well, I didn't say it was true. I'm just trying to bring this issue forward because there are people who are saying this, which is just one of the things is J.D. Vance is a racist jackass who then basically, when he has nowhere to go, will throw everyone else out as racist, and he's just trying to give them validity. Yeah, stupid. The impact on Springfield has been felt. The annual festival celebrating cultural diversity in Springfield has been canceled as violent threats triggered by J.D. Vance's false story about Haitian immigrants plagued the Ohio city at the center of his town. By the way, without a doubt in my mind, the second this election's over and he's lost, he's, where did you ever get the idea I was pushing that? I condemned violence. How dare you? You're a bigot, you eyeline wearing, couch humping freak. Ugh. I'm going to presume he likes the white upholstery. City officials announced on Monday that Culture Fest, set to take place on September 27th, 28th, has been scrapped after multiple schools in the town hall were targeted with bomb threats. Today, all the elementary schools in Springfield closed because of bomb threats, phoned in. Oh, we deeply regret having to cancel Culture Fest as we know it was a beloved event in our community, said City Manager Brian Heck in a Facebook announcement. However, the safety of our residents and visitors must come first. The announcement does call out on Vance's false claim, echoed by Donald Trump, that immigrants were eating pets in the city. Recent threats and safety concerns, Mayor Rob Rue told the New York Times, was a hateful response to immigration in our town. Monday's announcement states that city officials, in consultation with state and local law enforcement, determined that canceling the event was the most responsible course of action to prevent any potential risk of attendees. On Sunday, Vance appeared to admit that to CNN's Bash that he had shared made-up stories, but argue it was part of a noble cause to raise media awareness about the Biden administration policies. Now, once again, the Haitians are coming here because their country is war-torn. We do have categories of immigration geared toward that to help people who are trying to escape a war-torn country to get here quicker. They're here legally. The Haitians are here legally. In the same sense, in Minneapolis, St. Paul, we have a fairly substantial Hmong population that came here after the Vietnam War. A lot of the families came out here, and you bring people in to escape violence and bad situations. Frankly, immigration has made my city a heck of a lot better. It's a fantastic town. I love it up here. Chicago's great. Seattle's great. But yet for racists who want to rally other racists, it will always be an easy target to go after. Because he can't scream the N-word. So he's just doing what, he's trying to sound like a clever racist. I have to create stories so that American people actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, and that's what I'm going to do. So he's admitting to lying, making it all up. Meanwhile, the people of Springfield, Ohio are being terrorized by Trump followers and Vance supporters who basically are, I can't wait for this moment. These people are going to get caught. And when they do get caught and they do get arrested and they get charged for false threats and doing this, will Donald Trump come out, these poor innocent people that called in a bomb threat to an elementary school, how can you put them in jail for terrorizing children? I love terrorizing children. That's America. Ohio Governor Mark DeWine called Vance and Trump's rhetoric garbage and demanded the pair stop attacking the people in his state. This is a piece of garbage and simply is not true. Discussions about Haitians eating dogs is just not helpful. According to an official website, Culture Fest activities would have included a Halloween horse event and a Firefly Fall fashion show. Now that's not happening. And my guess is there are people trying to figure out a way to get into that town to basically open fire on people because they've been encouraged by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and the Republicans who continue to defend this horrible lie under the argument that people that legally immigrated here shouldn't have been allowed to, mainly because of the color of their skin. Because reminder, they don't get upset with the Swedish people that immigrate here or the German people that immigrate here. They only seem to get bothered by the darker colored skin groups of people that come here. Then all of a sudden, it's outrage. Venezuelans, Haitians, oh my God. And they have to make up lies to vilify these people. Reminder, They're the ones that, because of this assassination attempt on Trump, are insisting, you can't criticize us, you're going to cause violence. And you look at what they have done to Springfield, Ohio, and every day now there is violence heaped upon them by Vance and Trump. Chicago and Seattle. Talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Hour 2 up next.
Next time on Philosophy Talk, Mexican philosophy.
From early feminists to later existentialists, from indigenous thinkers to utopian theorists, Mexican philosophy is full of fascinating figures with innovative insights.
What can we learn from them about belief, desire, freedom, morality, and education?
And do Mexican philosophers speak with one voice or in a complicated harmony across the centuries?
Mexican philosophy. Next time on Philosophy Talk.
Catch Philosophy Talk every Sunday morning at 8 on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, this is Paul Metza. Honored to tell you I've been broadcasting my Wall of Power radio hour show on AM 950 for over 9 years. We have had musicians that have played with Bob Dylan and Prince, local musicians, authors, comedians, CIA agents. My motto is cool people from all walks of life in all 50 states. It airs every Saturday night at 6 p.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
It's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast, weeknights at 7 on AM 950. KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. FBI Special Agent in Charge Jeffrey Veltri in Florida says the Bureau has spoken with Ryan Roush before. He is the man accused of attempting to assassinate former President Donald Trump.
He was the subject of a previously closed 2019 tip to the FBI, where it was alleged he was a felon in possession of a firearm.
Veltri says Roush was interviewed. Acting Secret Service Director Donald Rowe says an agent saw Roush's rifle and fired.
The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots at our agent.
Roush is facing 2 federal felony gun charges. Rowe says protective measures are working after the latest apparent Trump assassination attempt. In July, a bullet grazed Trump's ear after a gunman was able to gain access to an unsecured roof during a rally in Pennsylvania. 2 former New York City Fire Department chiefs are in custody on charges they solicited tens of thousands of dollars in bribes. This is U.S. Attorney Damian Williams.
These defendants use their power as senior members of the FDNY to let some people cut to the front of the line. They allegedly created a VIP lane for faster service that could only be accessed with bribes.
The arrest came as multiple ongoing federal investigations swirl around the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, and his top deputies. Palestinian authorities say Israeli airstrikes have killed 16 people in the Gaza Strip, including 5 women and 4 children. TikTok is facing off with the U.S. government in federal court, arguing a law that could ban the platform in a few short months was unconstitutional. But the Justice Department says during the hearing, the measure is critical to eliminate a national security risk posed by the popular China-based social media company. The Dow was up 228 points, setting a record. This is AP News.
Flo here from Progressive to tell you how you get more than great savings with us. You get customer service access through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
That's a lot of ways I can get in touch with you. I see what's going on here. You can't name favors, but I'm your #1 customer.
Actually, we offer all our customers these ways to contact us.
I'm sure you give just any customer your personal
company
contact info.
Well, you did call us more than any other customer this year. So in that sense, you are our #1 customer.
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067. or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Today, sunshine with a high of 87, then tonight, clear with a low of 69. Liberal comedy icon Kathy Griffin brings her My Life on the PTSD List tour to the Pantages Theater in Minneapolis on October 11th. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com or listen to the Matt McNeil Show this week for your chance to win.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here, and just to piggyback on what Patrick, you said there during the weather there. Yeah, Kathy Griffin tickets. We have tickets to give away Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday shows. Also, the Gailey Show, they're going to have on their Instagram page a way for you can possibly win. Go to the Gailey Show Instagram page and follow the page, and they'll have a chance to win tickets there. So starting tomorrow, listen for your chance to win Kathy Griffin tickets, Pantages Theater in October, courtesy of AM 950. That starts tomorrow. Patrick, it has become apparent to me that Michael Broadcorp and I are freaking geniuses. You know, we called that game. I thought it probably wasn't as close as I predicted. I think it was at 28-24 is what we predicted, but the Vikings once again looked pretty good, man. And we just have San Francisco's number. They haven't beat us since 1992, I think it is.
Yeah, that's at home specifically.
Yeah, they just cannot beat us here, even when they've had really good teams. And yeah, 2-0. The Vikes look pretty good, man.
Yeah, it's kind of a glass half empty, glass half full, because you can look at it from that the Vikings had turned the ball over twice in the red zone. So this could have been an even more lopsided game than it was. But they still made these mistakes and yet beat one of the best teams in football. So the glass half empty, glass half full is we didn't play our best game and we still beat them. And then the glass half empty would be you can't make those kind of mistakes and expect to win most games. And I think both of those viewpoints are valid, especially when it comes to playing some of the better teams in the league.
I've already talked to Michael. I actually enjoy, by the way, I think one of the funniest things is I do love how he's such a homer and he takes me to task. That makes me laugh. Deep down inside, I think that's just fantastic. Michael and I will talk on Friday about the Houston game. We'll get that in here. Did you had a weekend? You mentioned last hour you were doing a lot of sports stuff. Last 2 weekends. September is an unbelievably underrated month in this state.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's a little on the warm side, but you know, you really can't argue with. It's one of the best months of the year to just be outdoors.
Last weekend, I went out to, and I posted a bunch of pictures on social media. I went out to Big Willow Park in Minnetonka, hiked out there. I hiked over at Nokomis. I was over at Lake Nokomis last weekend. This weekend, I went down to Cleary Lake, one of the most underrated parks in the metro. Cleary Lake Regional Park. It's down in Prior Lake area. It's a long one, but it's paved, dirt flat, gorgeous, just a lovely path. Go do that one sometimes. And then I just hiked around my own town last night, man. I was hiking around Hopkins, and it was a nice time. Just pretty. I mean, it's my kind of time to get out. I also this weekend got over to the Park Tavern, and once again, I'm going to make my plea one more time here for everyone. Park Tavern is open for business. Obviously, the horrible tragedy that happened there a few weeks ago has dramatically impacted the community, and a lot of people have stepped up and they've offered help to the two people who passed away, as well as the people that are being injured, and that's great. Please do keep helping them out on their GoFundMe pages. Now, if you want to help out the Park Tavern, do a very simple thing. Go to the Park Tavern. Go to the Park Tavern. And the food is fantastic. I was out there Saturday night. Dude, the pickle burger. The pickle burger is amazing at Park Tavern.
That sounds really good. I was in there last week and I can't remember, I think it was the Galveston burger. It's blue cheese, bacon, and barbecue sauce. It was so good.
Charlie had the French onion burger. Very tasty. My wife had their Not Your Mama grilled cheese sandwich. Delicious. Fantastic food. So the food is top notch. The food is sensational. The pickle burger is really, really good. Go try that out. Stop on out there. You want to help out the Park Tavern. It's part of the community. It's been part of my family's time here, and I love them. I love them dearly. Phil and the whole crew over there. Please take some time this week. Go over, get a game of bowling on in. There's tons of games. Monday night game on tonight. Tons of sports games. We got the WNBA playoffs going to be starting here pretty soon. I don't know if the Twins are going to make the playoffs. I think the smart money is no. But, hey, there's still 2 weeks of that season.
Hey, yeah, make sure you get on over. Watch the Twins playoff push at the Park Tavern, and as well as the other MLB playoff preview action.
Oh, they're not going to make the playoffs. The Cincinnati Reds are not a good team. They're not a good team. Anyway, there you go. Go to the Park Tavern. If you don't like the game, they'll change it to another one. Trust me, I was there on Saturday night. Do you know how many college football games they had on? I wouldn't count around. I think there was at least 9 different games they had on at the same time. You'll find your game. The Gopher game was the main one, but it was Nevada. Not exactly prepping us for the Big Ten schedule.
Notre Dame blasting Purdue like 66-7. Yeah, they'll definitely take care of you if you don't want to watch that blowout. They'll find something better for you.
Go. Park Tavern's going to be good. And by the way, a little birdie told me we might be going over there October 1st for a certain VP debate with Governor Tim Walz mopping the floor with Couch Humper. So, yeah, we'll have some details coming up on that, all right? Please stop on out there and get the pickle burger. Yes. All right. So I'm going to start off, since I was talking at the end of last hour about the lies about Springfield, Ohio. The CNN decided to bring in an advocate for J.D. Vance, somebody who looks at J.D. Vance and says, he's my guy. I love J.D. Vance almost as much as he likes a Davenport couch. White Davenport couch, if you know what I mean. I get the impression that for J.D. Vance, the carpet matches as the drapes means completely different. Never mind. Carpet and drapes, you say? Okay, I'm going wrong. All right, going back to my point. So CNN decided to bring in an advocate for J.D. Vance, someone who loves J.D. Vance, to defend J.D. Vance's admission that he created stories about Haitian immigrants eating pets. This individual, though, faced a pretty stern rebuke from a fed-up CNN anchor on Monday morning. Who did they bring in? That's right, the walking jar of Elmer's glue himself, Tom Emmer. Republican Minnesota 6. Which also matches his IQ. He proved unable to convince Kate Bolden that Vance was justified in spreading false information if it focused the mainstream media's attention on President Joe Biden's immigration policy. No, Bolden interrupted. You can talk about policy without creating stories. This heated exchange took place one day after Vance told CNN's Dana Bash that he felt obligated to make up stories about Haitian immigrants in Springfield despite reports of bomb threats and school evacuations that followed. I have to create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people. Then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, Vance said. while Ohio Governor Jim DeWine called Vance and Trump's spreading of conspiracy theories garbage and called on the pair to stop attacking people illegally in the state, Emmer argued Vance was making a great point. This story is actually about a program and an illegal program, Emmer said. Bold snap, it's technically legal. If you don't want to talk about the Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, Venezuelans program created by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, which brought tens of thousands of migrants in the country, Emmer said, only to be cut off by Bolden again. There are 2 colleges that are shut down. They're going to remote today because of concerns over the environment this is created. No one locally wants this to continue. It seems to be a problem for you guys. The problem is the mainstream media refuses to report on what's the cause of the problem. The American people need to know. Let me just finish. Now, once again, Emmer is doing this. He's saying we should be able to make up a lie like, oh, Tom Emmer is actually somewhat appealing to women. You know, a lie. You know, you should be able to make up a lie like that. I said a lie. Tom Emmer says you should be able to do that if it gets to the point. Ladies, I'd avoid Tom Emmer. Just me. But that's just me. I don't know. You can make up your own lies. As a matter of fact, hit my social medias up with all the lies about Tom Emmer that you think you should be able to tell. Because at the end of the day, he thinks lies, even if they're completely unjustified, are for the greater good. Bolden had indeed cut in to assert her opinion that Vance should admit he got the rhetoric wrong before moving on to the policy-based attack. But when Emmer tried to pivot back to policy, Bolden came back with a story. If the story about eating pets is completely factually wrong and it is not true, are you okay with the story continuing and your candidate continuing to talk about it? I hope you start reporting on the problem that causes all of us, he replied. Congressman Bolden said the inability for the answer yes or no on this simple question kind of takes away the heft of wanting to talk about policy, which is true. And once again, all these people are here legally, but Tom Emmer doesn't want, let's see, let me, what was his list of evil people? This is a chin stroker, everybody. Let's see. Why does Tom Emmer not like Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans? What about each of those is different than powder, albino white, dear God, a glass of milk in a snowstorm, Tom Emmer? What is different about those 4 groups specifically that Tom Emmer keeps focusing on? Even though all those poor people are trying to flee almost certain death in some cases to get here to what's supposed to be the bastion of freedom in the world, the United States of America. I don't know. I bet I could make up some lies. Well, actually, I probably don't need to make up any lies. I probably could take a guess or two and probably nail it, couldn't I, Tommy? Why you, as a big jar of marshmallow fluff, seem to be against Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. Yeah, I think I can nail it. I think I know the answer, Bob. But I put it in the form of a question. Oh, never mind. I won't do that. You're a disgusting human being, Tom Emmer. Not only are you turning the back on basically the people that came here seeking freedom by basically saying, not you. For some reason, you're against Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. Boy, a whole head scratcher on that one, huh? But not only that, you sit there and as American citizens are being terrorized by your right-wing thug brigade, you sit there and act like you guys did something good. Screw you, you large jar of Elmer's paste. I almost said something bad. Yeah. You are... You're a disgusting creature, man. And you should just say this. No, this isn't true. We shouldn't be there. I would like to have a discussion about immigration policy, but I think we can have that discussion without trying to get people killed. That's what a real leader would do, but you're not a real leader, are you, you coward? 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. So I'm going to take a break. When I do come on back here, Patrick, one of the things I'm about to do is go through a few of the Republican candidates for House this year in the state of Minnesota. And by the end of this show, you're going to be like, what? Yeah, we'll get there. I got 3 of them. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Take a break, come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show on your Monday.
Hi, I'm Bruce Klopfleisch, a college political science instructor and attorney. Join me every Sunday at 5 p.m. for Politics Matters. We dive into how civics, politics, and law affect you. Discover how government impacts your daily life from the federal level all the way down to your local city. Each week, I'll share my key takeaways and teaching moments on crucial civics concepts to help understand what is happening in the current political environment. That's Politics Matters with Bruce Klopfleisch, Sundays at 5 p.m. or anytime on your favorite podcast app.
Hi, my name is Katty from Minnesota Recovery Connection.
And I'm Erin with Minnesota Recovery Connection.
We'd like you to listen to our show, Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution. It is on Saturdays at 10 a.m. on AM 950.
On the show, we discuss topics about addiction, understanding substance use disorder, the many pathways to recovery, and finding your personal journey.
Listen to Redefining Recovery Saturdays at 10 a.m. and find our podcast on your favorite app.
Find a wide selection of outdoor hearth products at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Whether you prefer wood or gas, Woodland Stoves has the fire to fit your home. Pizza aficionados know nothing matches masonry oven baking for capturing flavor and nutrition. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces can easily install one in your home or business. Enthusiasts use these ovens year-round for bread making, wood roasting, even grilling.
The mission and passion of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces is to make the fire work for you. The way humans relate to fire is primordial. We have used fire to warm our bodies, cook our meals, and kindle our spirits. Our team has the know-how to do this in a clean burning and environmentally smart way. Visit our store and experience the diversity. We have over 35 working units on display at the corner of Riverside and East Franklin. See us online at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that fits and works for you.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Are you guys ready to go? Are you buckled on in? Because you need to understand, we focus a lot on how horrible of a candidate Donald Trump is, how ungodly bad a candidate Royce White is, and how epically inept the Republican U.S. House members are, including Pete Stauber. God-awful horrible. But we haven't talked about the real horrible House rep candidates for the Republican Party lately. So let's give it a shot, shall we? And there's a few of these we need to talk about. Let's start off. This is 48B, I believe it is, which I believe is Chaska Chanhassen over on the southwest side of town. A Republican candidate for the Minnesota House Swing District is defending his past work with a Christian nonprofit that counsels members to renounce all homosexual thoughts. State capitals have become ground zero for a political debate over LGBTQ plus rights. While Minnesota's Democratic majority has passed protections for those communities, control of the state house is up for grabs this year. Caleb Steffenhagen. Caleb Steffenhagen, a middle school teacher and intelligence officer with the Minnesota Army National Guard from Chaska, is running in House District 48B against DFL Representative Lucy Rem. She won the Metro seat in 2022 by a few hundred votes. Steffenhagen's campaign as a fiscal conservative who would bring back a little balance and moderation. Oh, so funny. All of a sudden, the Republicans are not, we're going to just rubber stamp our Republican agendas. I'm a moderate. Bull. You guys are all basically owned by whoever pulls the strings behind the Minnesota GOP. Anyway, he's moderation. Funny, though, he's largely omitted his involvement with Dangerous Men United, a Minnesota-based men's group focused on living free of lust and porn that has also counseled members against same-sex attraction. Ads on his website steer clear of social issues like LGBTQ plus rights and abortion. Stephen Hagen told Axios his personal belief is that the Bible makes it pretty clear that same-sex attraction is a sexual sin. Actually, funny story, Stephen Hagen, since you brought that up, I'm a Christian myself. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the 4 books of the Bible that make, Christians, because there's a story of Jesus. I mean, those are the most important books. Do you know what Jesus never condemned in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? The gay culture, LGBTQ plus IA. As a matter of fact, he clearly sought out these marginalized groups and embraced them and welcomed them in. He did. I mean, Leviticus and Romans and, Thessalonians, you can go find Paul's letters. Paul really had some issues. But, the guy yourself, that, Christian, Jesus Christ, that guy, pretty big in this thing. He never did this. So what you're saying is, even though Jesus told you to love, care, compassion, love everybody, be a person there, you're choosing to search out passages within your religious faith that tell you to hate certain groups or disapprove of certain groups. No, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Trust me, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. As a matter of fact, Gospel of Matthew's got a lot of it in there. Just read that. Just read that. Does your Bible have that? You may want to read that. Just to see, as a Christian, just a correction for you. Jesus never called it a sexual sin. Leviticus, but my gosh, if you've had a bratwurst, boy, are you a hypocrite. And unless you're wearing cotton all day long and planting your crops in a certain way, there's a lot of rules. It's pesky. You do want to be careful with Leviticus, because if you quote Leviticus, oopsie. Anywho, but that's just, from my reading of the Bible. Stephen Hagen went on to say that the belief and work with DMU, that's right, Dangerous Men's United, not a villains group from the boys, obviously, but apparently a Minnesota-based men's group. He said that belief of his work with DMU, which began in high school and included leading retreats and part-time and paid part-time employment, wouldn't influence how he would vote if elected. Sure, they've paid me. Sure, I've led men retreats. Sure, that's not going to affect me, though, on how I vote if I'm elected. Quote, as an individual, I believe in freedom, Stephen Hagen said. So if that's the lifestyle you want to live, I don't like it when the government steps in and makes rules upon rules. Now, end quote. Now, if the Republicans gain a majority and they put forward a bill to gut rights for the LGBTQIA community, what do you think that he would sit there and say, hey, other Republicans, stop this now. I can't vote along with this. Or do you think he just quietly hang his head and say, please bring this up, please bring this up, please bring this up early so I don't have to campaign on this so much in 2 years. Please, 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 please. Because I guarantee you there's a lot of people in Chaska and Chanhassen that work with the LGBTQIA plus community, and a lot of people there who support the LGBTQIA plus community. So, I mean, this coming out is can't help you. But you trying to assure us that even though you've had a long-time relationship with this group and they've paid you, that somehow it won't affect you if you're elected. Stephen Hagen is the latest example of a swing district Republican legislative candidates holding personal views that the polling and election results suggest are out of step with the majority of Minnesota voters. Sue Eck, who I'm not going to bring up, or Steve Pape show up here, but I got other guys too. Sue Eck, a GOP nominee for the competitive St. Cloud district, said she opposes same-sex marriage. Another North Metro, Steve Pape, told the GOP group he would support a constitutional abortion ban in a heartbeat. Minnesotans voted in 2012 to reject the same-sex marriage ban, and surveys consistently show the majority are for illegal abortion, though many polls also show support for some limits on procedure. Same-day marriage has been, same-sex marriage, rather, has been legal federally since 2015. Dangerous Men United, which did not respond to Axios' request for comment, describes itself as a coaching ministry dedicated to helping young men and women get free from porn and live their God-given identity through discipleship. Stephen Hagen told Axios in a recent interview that his work with the group deepened his faith and really empowered me to love people in a different way and view people in a different way with mercy and grace. Okay. The group's 129-page guide, okay, to beginning the process of lust-free living, which Axios reviewed, urges leaders to renounce all homosexual thoughts, urges, drives, and acts, and renounce all ways that Satan has used things to pervert my relationships. Like accusing Haitians of eating pets when it's just a made-up story just so you can vilify a bunch of immigrants. I mean, that sounds like Satan right there. The book puts homosexuality on a list of sexual issues that includes other unlawful activities and encourages readers struggling with their certain desires to turn to a group that works with people wanting to leave homosexuality for help. Stephen Hagen, who has posted pictures of the manuscript, confirmed to Axios his work with DMU included leading a discussion group and centered around the book. The positions in the book are out of step with science, as well as growing global acceptance of non-heterosexual orientations. Research has shown both genetic and environmental influences on sexual orientation. GLAAD calls the term LGBTQ lifestyle inaccurate because it implies that being LGBTQ is voluntary or a choice. The American Psychological Association concluded in a 2009 report that efforts to change sexual orientation are unlikely to be successful, involve risk of harm. Stephen Hagen says he does not support conversion therapy or anti-LGBTQ rhetoric. I would say that one of the worst things I have seen in Christianity over the last 20 years is Christians out there bashing gays or bashing LGBTQ plus people. He emphasized that members of the study group are there by choice, and says the book's teachings had helped many to free themselves from their porn addictions and strengthen their faith. You keep bringing up the porn thing, but it seems like this group, and at least it seems like, is very much as well trying to steer people away from the LGBTQ lifestyle. I don't know if it's fair to just try to separate those two out and just say, I was only focused on the porn stuff. But, okay. So the question I have for you, and this is for the listener, not for Stephen Hagen, but for you, the listener, especially the listeners in the mighty district that is known as 48B, down Chanhassen, Chaska. If this guy gets elected and Republicans like Walter Hudson and Eric Lucero and Steve Drazkowski and Mary Franson push a, it's illegal to be gay bill in Minnesota Act of 2025. If they do that, do you think Caleb Steffenhagen will be the person who comes on out and says, hey, guys, I'm sorry, that's wrong. I promised my district I wouldn't do that. Or do you think that he would go along with that bill? Now, mind you, there are a lot of Republicans today who for decades screamed about getting rid of abortion, who even up until a few months ago were screaming about we need to undo all these abortion laws in the state, who now all of a sudden who are running for office, who suddenly say, hey, where did you get that idea? I never was for that, even though I was for decades. There are a lot of Republicans that do that now. I don't think you can trust those Republicans. The question I have about Steffenhagen is, here's a guy who, once again, has a long-term relationship with this group. This group is about, basically, steering people away from pornography and the LGBTQ lifestyle. And he's worked with them for a long time. He's counseled with them. He even got paid by them. Do you think if that bill comes in front of him, he's going to vote no? That's up to you. That's the decision you got, Chaska Chanhassen. Good luck with that. 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. That's just one of the Republicans today. I've got two more to get to. Let's go back to the break and come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show here on your Monday.
I'm JP Debragosian, host of The Gaily Show, celebrating LGBTQ culture and entertainment in Minnesota and beyond every Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. Local queer singer-songwriter Leslie Vincent has a series of new concert performances coming up this month. Leslie's been called the Amy Winehouse of Full Tilt Jazz. She is famous for her joyful stylings and beautiful interpretations of the American songbook, jazz, blues, as well as contemporary rock and pop. Her latest album, About Last Night, is streaming everywhere you get your music. On September 19th, Leslie will join a slew of performers for Cover Me, the Bruce Springsteen sing-along. The show starts at 8 p.m. at the Turf Club. On September 22nd, Leslie will be performing at the Lakeville Art Festival. The show starts at 12 p.m. And on September 28th, Leslie will be live at Carboni's on Cedar Avenue. Show starts at 7 p.m. And mark your calendars for Leslie Vincent Presents Murder, Monsters, and Mayhem. It's a horror cabaret show, part of the 11th Twin Cities Horror Festival. It will be at 7 p.m. on October 23rd at the Crane Theater. For tickets and more information, go to lesliedellavincent.com. Coming up this Saturday at 2 p.m. on This Queer Book Saved My Life, my guest will be Steph Colburn, founder of Edit Audio. We're talking about the book that saved her life, The Waves by Virginia Woolf. After that, on The Gaily Show, I'll be talking with the author Joseph Leza about his memoir, I'm Never Fine, Scenes and Spasms on Loss. Russell T. Davies, the showrunner of Queer as Folk and Doctor Who, called it a standout piece of work. So tune in this Saturday at 2 p.m. or listen to The Gaily Show everywhere you get your podcasts or on am950radio.com. You can also watch The Gaily Show on our YouTube channel. For now, enjoy this hour of The Matt McNeil Show. This is JP Debragosian, host of The Gaily Show. On our Instagram channel, we play preview clips of upcoming episodes, and now we're also doing ticket giveaways. We're giving away tickets to Harry Situation, a new comedy show by Alok, coming to the Uptown Theater October 23rd. Alok is an internationally recognized comedian and actor. All you have to do to enter is follow us on Instagram. We're at _Gaily Show. That's Gaily Show. And keep following us. We have more upcoming giveaways this fall.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Today, sunshine with a high of 87, then tonight, clear with a low of 69. For more than 40 years, the Great Wall Restaurant has been serving up Szechuan and Mandarin favorites. The Great Wall is located just north of 50th in France on the Minneapolis-Edina City line. Check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It is the Matt McNeil Show. For the next Republican, we should be going like, what? We need to go north to the Iron Range. That's right. Northern Minnesota. This is going to be, it looks like indeed Virginia, Hibbing, that kind of area there. As a matter of fact, this is the race for the seat where my cabin's at up there. Okay, so this is technically, I'm a constituent here. 7B. To the Minnesota Reformer, Cal Warrus. Warrus, Warwas, is a Republican candidate for the Minnesota House District 7B, an Iron Range swing seat that opened up when DFLer Dave Lisgard announced his retirement early this year. He's running against Lori Gentonopoulos, a former director of the Department of Employment and Economic Development. Warwas is a third-generation miner and union member, something a rarity in the Republican Party that's been traditionally hostile to union interests. His primary pitch to voters is he's running to restore balance to state government. Hey, we've heard that before, haven't we? Hey, I'm just trying to restore balance so that lawmakers from both parties can discuss, negotiate issues important to all people groups in the state. Sure. But that message of moderation, and by the way, they're not moderate. Once again, you think that this guy is going to stand up for labor unions with that Republican Party if they say, yep, we're going to make our Minnesota a right-to-work state? Of course, this toolbox will get right into line and say, it was time for a change. Well, that's at least my guess. That's my guess of what Walrus would do. That'd be my guess. Pure speculation. Undercut for recent years of social media posts. Apparently, Walrus did not clear off his social media. Among other things, Walrus repeatedly suggested climate change is a hoax, used derogatory language against LGBTQ people, and approvingly shared posts asking why the term white pride, a slogan espoused by white supremacist groups, is actually considered racist. Yeah, this is once again one of their moderates. This is one of those moderates. I'm just a middle of the road guy. Why is white pride a bad thing? Can we raise? How many hands can I raise here? Warwas, I'm a big white guy too. I am. You're wrong, dude. Warwas was repeatedly suggested climate change is a hoax or a scam. In 2019, he shared a Twitter post by a climate denier, adding, I've said this for years, lying to kids, making climate change science and de facto public religion, then using that collective voice to sway public opinion and votes as elite socialists that can take away our freedoms. He includes the tags, climate hoax. Dude, you live on the Iron Range. Moose used to be everywhere there. They're no longer there. Used to only be red foxes up there. Now we got the gray foxes, and the red foxes moved north. Snowy owls don't come down there anymore. You're seeing climate change happen. And if it doesn't get cold enough, all your trees start dying off because of bugs that are used to being killed off by the hard frosts. Unfortunately, yeah, you just want to stick your head in the ground. There's a joke there. Walrus also criticized Wallace's creation of the climate subcabinet. This is virtue signaling on a state level. Can you say hoax? On Facebook, he's approvingly shared posts about climate concerns are simply another way to control people. Climate experts have been wrong for 50 years. Lefty scam. Global warming is a hoax. The real goal is communism. Mind you, once again, this is a guy that works for a labor union. Okay. All right, sure. Yeah, sure. He's going to be for workers' rights. Sure. By the way, the average global temperature has increased about 2 degrees Fahrenheit since 1900. Minnesota, St. Louis County, where District 7B is located, has warmed even faster and is one of the fastest warming regions in the entire country. About 7 in 10 residents of the county accept that global warming is happening, but not this guy. When passively mentioning the hoax of climate change on X, I'm not saying the weather hasn't changed, that certain efforts to end or slow the demise of our planet are, in fact, just another type of industry to collect ratepayer and taxpayer money. Oh, yeah, what you're misunderstanding. I didn't say it wasn't happening. I was just saying that there's an interior, complete conspiracy behind it. Where do you get the idea of a balloon ball? Paraphrase. I'm paraphrasing here. His anti-LGBTQ views in 2021. 2021, not 40 years ago. 2021. Warwas criticized Walls for actively promoting an alphabet lifestyle as normal and healthy, and referred to lesbian soccer star Megan Rapinoe as a little boy. Wow. On several occasions, he targeted transgender people in his posts. He has said, a man is still a man, even if he calls himself a woman, called a transgender woman a dude masquerading as a girl, and mocked United States Assistant Secretary of Health Rachel Levine as a man in a dress and called her mentally deranged. He has said encouraging children to become something they're not is evil. A man who asks us to participate in his delusion should not be celebrated as some sort of brave pioneer or honored and reverted, Walrus told the reformer. Treating all people kindly and respectfully is something I strive for, but demand for lifestyle acceptance of the trans community has escalated into something that's truly harmful to society. Hey, I'm here to be nice to everyone else, but the hell with those people. I'm paraphrasing once again, Walrus, just paraphrasing him. Walrus even called the PBS children's show Arthur harmful to children after an episode featured a male rat named Mr. Ratburn marrying an aardvark chocolatier named Patrick. No new episodes of Arthur will be shared on our television, Walrus said. Jeez. Wow, you are so tolerant that you've actually gone after Arthur on PBS. Dude, you need to seek a counselor about that. That's some serious hate, man. You might have some issues. I'm just saying. But let's get to the white cherry on top of this Sunday. white pride. Once again, Walrus is running up on the Iron Range. White pride is a slogan often used by modern white supremacist groups to make their message more palatable to a wider audience. It appears in the motto of the neo-Nazi internet website Stormfront and often crops up in white supremacist rallies. The reformer found no evidence Walrus is affiliated with such groups. However, on 3 separate occasions, he approvingly shared Facebook memes asking why white pride is not considered why pride is considered racist, while other phrases like black pride and Mexican pride are. Now, I'm going to take a quick few seconds here to educate your dim-witted, stupid ass, Walrus. The reason why is because the white population has been the majority population. And over the centuries that we've had here, they have dominated and prevented these minority groups from being able to get up to these same levels as the white groups. It has been documented beyond documented. And the reality is that when you're saying this stuff, this whole notion of white pride has been a way to scream out minority groups who finally are starting to get a voice in the community and want to be able to be heard. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of white racist people scream white pride to shut them out. Same thing happened when Black Lives Matter came out and all the racists start coming out and saying, well, all lives matter. Well, no, not all lives matter to you because you're screaming this to shut up the black people. Ta-da! You see? You don't do that because we live in a predominantly white society that has given advantages to the white community that the other communities don't have. So them trying to have a voice so that they can get an equal footing is not a threat to you, dimwit. It's just everyone trying to get on equal footing. Or so I read. I mean, I think there was a pamphlet or something I had that I don't know. Where am I coming up with this loony stuff, huh? All right. So that's the reason why. That's what I say. He posted about the meme in 2018. The following year, he posted it on the same date, remarking, still a great question. He also posted about it in 2017. So in 2019, he posted white pride stuff in 2019. I never heard of Stormfront until you mentioned the website, Wara said, when asked whether he was aware of the embrace of the phrase by white supremacists. I abhor all forms of racism and feel the recent trend in our culture to make everything about race has been extremely unhelpful in easing racial tensions where they do exist. Okay. You know, it's almost as if he's been caught red-handed. Almost. I mean, I'm not saying this is the case. I mean, this is just pure speculation and observation about the story. It's almost as if he, as a person who's been caught red-handed pushing white supremacist talking points, that he's trying to find some way to make what he's saying normal. But I want to repeat what he says here. I abhor all forms of racism, and I feel the recent trend in our cultures to make everything about race has been extremely unhelpful in easing racial tensions where they come to exist. Okay. Recently, the recent trend in our culture is to make everything about race. The recent trend, you say. You clearly don't know what the hell happened in this country to the Native Americans who were treated abhorrently by the white immigrants. You sure as heck don't have any tonal knowledge of how black people were treated in this country for hundreds of years. How religious groups that weren't Christian, such as the Jewish faith and the Muslim faith, have been vilified constantly through this country's history. How from about 1880 up until even modern times, that the current groups of people, whether that was the Irish or the Italians or the Mexicans or Hispanic people or Asian groups or Haitians come into town, that they basically scream about race all the time. You trying to make an argument that this is some sort of new thing. No, what you're bothered about seems to be, I mean, I don't know for sure. You'll have to clarify this for me, Mr. Waras. You'll have to clarify this. But what it seems like to me is that you're far more bothered by the fact that white people can't be so obscenely racist out in public anymore, and the fact that we're calling that crap out and trying to stop that from happening anymore. Well, why does everything have to be about race? I don't know. Why don't you talk to Whitey? Because Whitey's been making it about race ever since Whitey got here, man. Seriously, dumbass. It's been the white guys who have made everything about race since they started coming here on the sailboats. You need to understand my positions, dude. Still, I'm going to say this crap does appeal to certain groups up there. This is why I say you need to get door knocking, and you need to get out of the safe districts, and you need to get up to districts where currently a Democrat holds that seat. But if we don't go up there and knock on every freaking door in Hibbing and Virginia and point out this guy's social media posts, well, then guess what happens? Lack of intelligence is just as a wrong strategy as what this is, whatever this is. Still not done. I got another one, and he might be the worst of all. Republicans, you can sure pick them this year, can't you? 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. The Matt McNeil Show here on your Monday. The future of car shopping is here right now at Rudy Luther Toyota with Luther Direct. It's car shopping without ever leaving your home. Go to rudyluthertoyota.com and click on the Luther Direct button. Choose any vehicle in Rudy Luther Toyota's current inventory, either new or certified pre-owned. Then find out your trade-in's value, review a payment plan you qualify for and customize it, and then set up a time for Rudy Luther to drop off your new vehicle and pick up your trade-in. It's that simple. Your new vehicle without any of the hassle. Check out Luther Direct today at rudyluthertoyota.com.
Hey there, AM 950 community. Join me, JP Derbogosian, every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. for a double dose of queer joy. This queer book saved my life and The Gaily Show. These programs are a jubilant celebration of the transformative impact of queer literature and the dynamic spirit of LGBTQ plus culture and entertainment right here in Minnesota. Tune in and be a part of this vibrant community. For all the details, visit thisqueerbook.com and am950radio.com.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. So today we've been peeling back the layers of the onion that are the great GOP House candidates here. I've already talked about two spectacularly horrific candidates. Let me get to a third, and this could be the worst. And this is actually a sitting representative. 11B, is it 11B or 11A? 11A. This is just south of the last district I'm talking about. It's Cloquet coming south as you're heading up to Duluth. A state legislator from northeastern Minnesota was arrested in 2008 after his then wife called police to report he'd assaulted her. One episode in what she and her son would describe in civil court filings as more than a decade of abuse. Immediately following the arrest, the judge ordered Jeff Dotseth, now a first-term Republican legislator from Kettle River, to cease contact with Penny Dotseth, according to a criminal court act documents not previously reported. Under a year-long order for protection, Dotseth was also barred from using or possessing firearms and allowed only supervised visits with their daughter. Prosecutors charged Dotseth with misdemeanor domestic assault, according to the court records. 9 months after he was arrested, Dotseth pled guilty to a reduced charge of disorderly conduct. Dotseth was sentenced to 90 days in jail, but was stayed on his condition he remained law-abiding for a year, which he did. He was ordered to complete a compassion workshop and comply with the order of protection until it expired, documents show. Jeff claims to be a non-violent person. This is most definitely not true, Penny Dotseth said in a 2008 sworn affidavit she filed along with a petition for divorce. Her affidavit describes repeated incidences of alleged abuse. She's since remarried and now goes by Penny Cowell. Jeff Dotseth, who is now also remarried, said in a written statement that he went through an extremely difficult divorce and child custody dispute. In her affidavit, Cowell said Dotseth threw her to the floor, kicked and choked her in 93-94 over a dispute related to their trucking business. In 94, she said Dotseth slammed her against the wall and pinned her under all of his weight, choking her and prompting her to spit in his face in response. In 98, she said Dotseth slapped her. She slapped him back, and then he forced her head between her legs and squeezed tightly, forced her head between his legs and squeezed tightly. I remember crying and trying to get him off, but I could not, she said in her affidavit. Cowell said that after her affidavit that her son tried to intervene on multiple occasions and was hurt by Dotseth himself. Her son was a child at the time of the alleged abuse. Wow, horrible. So you're doing this in front of your kid and your kid's trying to stop you. Wow. That's the allegation. Allegedly. But there's something, there seems to be some fire here. I mean, he was, he had a jail sentence that was stayed. Wrote in his own affidavit in the son was a child at the time of the alleged abuse, wrote in his own affidavit in 2008, when he was 25 years old, he declined to comment when reached by phone, citing fear for his safety. Fear for his safety. The Minnesota Star Tribune is not naming him because he was a minor at the time of the alleged abuse. I have been punched, slapped, choked, thrown, hit with things, and kicked by Dotseth, Cowell's son wrote in a sworn affidavit. After his violent outbursts, we would always go back to living life, forgive and move on. It was never long before he'd find something else to get mad about. Now, I'm not sure where, and I'm going to pull this up here really quick here because I saw this, and I've got to. I want to figure out what the exact wording here because this is after years. This is the Minnesota DFL release on this. Of years of appalling violence and domestic abuse described here are disqualifying for office, as so is Representative Dotseth's decision to hide from the public. One of the officers who responded to the 911 call is also a GOP legislator. So what did the Minnesota GOP leaders know, and when did they know it? Seriously. So wait a second. One of the 911 callers was is now a GOP legislator. So he knows of Dotseth's history here and the affidavits that were written against him by his wife and his kid. A former wife and kid who now lives in fear. You guys want to get upset with a Minnesota senator who is going through a horrible relationship with her stepmother in the wake of her father's passing, which sounds like made some bad decisions, and there has been a conflict that has arisen. And we can have a discussion about that. I have said, if you're having this problem, this is an incredibly emotional thing. Stepping aside is not the worst idea. But you guys mocked and ridiculed her. Mocked and ridiculed her. This is far worse than anything you went after her for. Far worse. And I'm betting you all your sphincters are tightening right up right now because you got nothing to say. Because, well, I don't want it. I mean, that's a different thing. This sounds like a personal matter, as you were laughing it up and joking it before when it's the DFL senator having problems with her stepmother. You couldn't make enough jokes. You couldn't make enough demands. You couldn't do that. Here is a guy who's got serious freaking allegations against him by both his ex-wife and his son, who's still afraid of him by the sounds of it. And what are you guys going to do? Say nothing, because you're broken cowards. This entire hour, starting with Tom Emmer and going through these 3 absolutely amazingly large clown cars, has been about the reality of this. The Minnesota Republican Party is broken to the core, and you cannot trust them, whether it's with their anti-LGBT agenda, whether it's with their white pride agenda, or with this allegations of serious domestic assault. Shame on all of you. You sure as heck ain't Christians. We'll take a break. Well, I'm done. Native Roots Radio is up next. We're back tomorrow. Until then, see ya.
Hey, it's Patrick. It's another one of our favorite